for sure, when you come to a new context, it's quite normal that you are impressed by the different things and it's everything exciting. You wanted to go there, so it's everything new and so much to learn. And then at a certain point, it's like, okay, now the excitement at the beginning is gone. Now it's everything kind of normal, but it's not the normality I'm used to. So, and that is tiring, because you have always in your head to decode things, to change from your code to the other. They do like this and they mean like this. They do like this. It is like this, but it's meant like this, and it's tiring. When I had it, I just spoke with people about that. Like I had a very much culture shock in relation to relationship, like how do you express to friends that we love them and so on.
Yeah, Germany was my first international experience, long-term international experience on my own, at least. And of course, it is quite different from like Egypt, for example, where I come from. So I would say I had a significant culture shock. It took a long time to just get into terms with it and figure out finally everything that's going around me, or like that's going on around me.
For example, I was very surprised that paying by card is not possible in many places. So for the first month or two, I struggled by, having to go to banks and get out cash.
One other thing that I know that shocked me when I came to Germany was that on Sundays everything is locked. Everything is closed. Like, you cannot go anywhere on Sunday. Is just free for everybody.
Das Schwierigste für mich war, dass am Sonntag alles geschlossen ist oder geschlossen ist. Und das in Brasilien, wir haben alles fast 24 Stunden geöffnet. So, dass hier nichts funktioniert an Sonntags, das war auch ein Schock. Ja.
Maybe wearing sandals while wearing socks. I think that's a really weird thing when I first came here. Yeah.
Maybe the society is a little bit different. Things here in Germany are more individual, for example, are more distant a little bit more than in Egypt. Also the punctuality, for example.
In Deutschland ist es halt üblich, dass man nicht 5 Minuten oder eine Viertelstunde oder eine halbe Stunde zu spät kommt, sondern wenn man verabredet ist, ist man verabredet. Das ist, glaube ich, so das Häufigste, was so im Freundeskreis auch passiert.
Ja, das stimmt. Ja.
Dass Leute denken, das ist mehr ein Richtwert, die Zeit.
The transport will not wait for you, not a single second. So it's something like you form into character. Like you either run every day of your life, or you can prepare yourself with anticipation, go outside, walk, and be calm in the tram or in the bus station.
I think punctuality, obviously, it matters a lot. You have to be, whatever things you have committed to, you should try to be on time. But there are some unforeseen events that sometimes happen, so consideration from people is also important.
That is a very nice question, because when I came to Germany first, I thought that all Germans are on time. And then I realized that I can never speak about all Germans because everyone is different, and it's actually obvious because I know that no Italians are like me. But when you think of the others, it's easy to think, the Italians are all different, but the Germans are all the same, and so on. And I found out that actually there are so many people who are not on time in Germany. And that obviously then you realize that, okay, I know that there are people in all countries which are more on time than others. It depends also very much on the context, what you have to do and in what context you are. But there is something that is different, at least in relation to Italy and Germany, that when we say at 10 o'clock, a meeting, let's say with friends or also with colleagues, but not so formal, you say at 10 o'clock, then it's usually around 10:05. Yeah, it's not like 10:00. And that in Germany is different. Actually, when you say an hour, it's really that hour with 00 or like 10:15 or something. So if you have an appointment, it's actually usually taken seriously the minutes. But as I say, it depends very, very much on the group, on the context, and the people who are there.
Yes, I think it's usually cold in Germany, and it gets to in winters. It's a little like cloudy, and it affects your mood. I think there is a term like which is in German like winter depression.
Ja, und das Wetter, also das war furchtbar. Also an das Wetter müssen wir wirklich gucken, wie das. Also das Wichtigste ist erstmal gucken, wie das Wetter heute wird. Das ist ganz wichtig, damit man weiß, wie man sich anzieht. Weil manchmal, weil es ist nicht so, dass es immer im Oktober warm oder kalt sein wird. Das ist immer unterschiedlich. Das Wetter, das ist gewöhnungsbedürftig und vor allem für die aus einem warmen Land wie ich komme.
So when I first came here, it was really cold for me because I came from a tropical country. Yeah, so winter jacket, like a thick winter jacket is a must.
In Germany, from June to August, it's warm summer, ranging from 25 to 30 degrees. But on the contrary, Kerala, the city where I grew up, have always all around moderate climate, ranging from 20 to 30 throughout the year, and sometimes the rainfall. The 3 months are called off monsoon.
Ja, also ich komme aus Ghana und ja, Ghana ist super warm. Also es geht bis zum 30 Grad. Ich liebe Sommer, weil ich fühle mich voll, also im Sommer, also wie zu Hause. Winter ist es super kalt. Also das habe ich mir nicht vorgestellt, wie es also sehr kalt sein könnte. Es ist super, super kalt in Jena.
The weather here is a little bit worse than in Spain. It's a little bit colder. So at least now, in the winter season, I think most activities happen inside in Weimar. But of course, you can go to parks when it's a nice day. But just the social life happens more indoors in Germany.
I think that the snow is good for pictures only. I am not so excited about these low temperatures, but nevertheless, we don't have any severe winter this year in comparison with the last one. And the summer is nice. It was really nice.
So at a certain point you have a down, it's like, I would just love that people just communicate as I'm used to, or like that people works as I know it, because then everything is easier. And but then the cool thing is that it's just a moment which will happen, and you know that will happen, and then it can goes up. Then you get used to here, and you start appreciating it, and you love it. Maybe in parts it's like always like this, no? You love some things, you don't love others, but then you go back maybe to your countries, which and you are though another person, and now they will happen the same thing, and we'll start missing things which have become normal for you and that you've started to love. So that is a bit the problem of people who go all over, that are completely enriched on wonderful experiences, and on the other side they will always miss the other places. But it's a good loss, let's say. It's a good price to pay.
Ich komme aus einer Stadt in Brasilien, die circa 3 Millionen Leute gibt. So, echt groß im Vergleich mit Schmalkalden. So hier, ich denke, dass in der Vergangenheit war 20.000 Leute, die hier wohnen. Das ist nicht das Größte. Das war ein Schock. Ja, aber das war gut, weil in der Vergangenheit, es gab viele Brasilianer auch hier, so ich hatte viele Leute, die ich konnte reden und so weiter. Und das war super Spaß gemacht. Ja.
The first cultural shock that I experienced is everyone said that Germans are rude and all, but even at the airport and the bus or the train station also, many Germans helped me, and they spoke very friendly. That is not a cultural shock actually, but that's not what I expected. But everyone is very cool.